Welcome out to Two Dads and a Chaz Football Podcast. Finally, we got rid of that guy. For some reason, Tyson couldn't make it this week to 2D and a C, but don't worry, Chazzy Baby Bubby Boy's got it. While he's running things, we're going to do things a little bit different. I'd like to thank Aaron Mayhudovich. How you feeling tonight, brother?
Feeling really good, boys. Won the last 7 out of 8. Let's talk some pack.
I love it. Followed by Mr. Ty B.D. Slay Kitty Perwendo.
Oh, man. Packers are on a roll. We're on a heater. We're finding our identity. We're going to be a tough team.
Boys, I agree. I don't want to waste any time tonight. I want to jump right in with this episode with Two Dads and a Chaz.
Two dads and a Chaz, putting trophies on the wall. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Not exactly qualified, but answers the call. Two dads and a Chaz, talking Green Bay Packers football. We gonna break it all down, probably leave out some facts. We gonna make some statements that we'll likely regret. Most of gossip and rumors made straight off the top. So crank up the air condition, cause it's bound to get hot. Two dads and a Chaz, you know we live it and we live it right. Two dads and a Chaz, we gonna break down football for you tonight. Besides some rings and putting trophies on the wall. Trophies, y'all. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
Welcome, my friends, to Two Dads and a Chaz. We just came off a stellar Turkey Day win. I couldn't have been more happy with how this turned out, especially against those warm flippered assholes. 3 quick takeaways from the Packers' decisive 30-17 win over the Miami Dolphins on Thanksgiving. This was their most complete, complimentary football game of the season. Now, I know the score last week in San Francisco says that was a bigger defeat, but we're talking about Brandon Allen, we're talking about Nick Bosa, none of them. This was a desperate Dolphins team, and the Packers came in with a 24-3 game at halftime. The Packers played good defense, goal line stop, then they turned that into a field goal to essentially end the game. This was all facets firing. You get special teams return. This was everything you needed it to be. The pass rush is back. 5 sacks in this game. They get the huge sack on 4th down at the goal line. That was the game at that point. Given how these guys are playing, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, looking like their old selves as well. And Christian Watson is the most reliable receiver we have on this team, maybe even this season. Think about that for a second. And they were a DPI call away from having it happen again. He is rounding into form at the right time. He's healthy, and this team has a chance to fucking cook. And speaking of cooking, it was a Thanksgiving game. Fellas, tell me about your Thanksgiving Day parade.
Yeah. Well, the Mayhew household, we've been hosting for the past couple of years, right? And it used to be this early start time of like, hey, we're going to eat at 11, 12. Not at my house. It just keeps getting pushed back every year. 3. This year, I'm like, hey, we're going to eat at 4. I think 5:30, all the food actually hit the table. But there's never a dry turkey in this household, gentlemen. And way too many goddamn sides. Like, there's just not enough room on this table. 10 people are coming over. I somehow cook food for 50. I don't understand how or why, but things were delicious. Spirits were high. And anytime you can just sit at the table with family is a good day. It's a good day. Ty, how about you?
Amen. Yeah. No, we were double booked. So I had many Thanksgiving meals. Loved it. We in the morning, packed the car like we were going to be wandering nomads for the next 12 hours. Cause of course my wife has to be the cool auntie who brings like crafts and everything for the kids. Right. So, but it was fine. We did a mad dash, a family tour, if you will. And had a great time.
Sweet. I got roped in like a day and a half before to do like, hey, can you just come and like make a side? I was like, sure, I'll come make a side. And then it ended up being, they need me to make 4 sides, but they wanted me to do it the day of in this tiny little kitchen. And I'm like, you want me to get there like what, 9 o'clock? He's like, yeah, we're going to put the turkey in around like 8 or 7. I'm like, okay, do you have more than one oven? They're like, no. Why? I'm like, okay, how are we going to cook sides if the turkey's in there? What is this your first goddamn time? What are you talking about? And then I'm going to shop. He's like, actually, would you mind making like 2 or 3 sides? I'm like, what the fuck is happening, bro? So I end up having to go to my buddy's house the night before. I get there at 6. I'm cooking until midnight
Oh my
to get
God.
out of there. I was like, oh my God. And of course, the same thing happens when you're somebody that hasn't worked in kitchens for a very long time. I did. The first thing I asked when I got there, hey man, when's turkey coming out so I can, reheat these sides? And immediately, no matter what that guy says, I'm adding an hour. And he's like, about 3 o'clock. I'm like, 4:30. Got it. So I pull shit out at 3 o'clock to start getting to almost room temp. Now, we don't want trichinosis and all that shit. But I'm like, he pulls and he keeps opening the door,
Oh, no.
basting, opening the door. I'm just going, oh God. Oh God. Dude, Mayhew, he pulls this thing out the first time. It's at 120. I'm going, oh, fuck.
Right in that sweet spot.
Right. So, and I just I keep my composure. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you're good, man. Hey, let's just do this. Let's turn it up just a little and then never open the door again until the timer goes off.
Nah, for me, it was good. It's like that distraction, especially when you're playing at like 7:20 at night. I'm like, let's just think about food, do the dishes. And then boom, all of a sudden it was like 7:10, like right on time. So yeah, couldn't have been better over here.
Westminster Dog Show. You get to watch the Macy's Day Parade 3 times on repeat, whatever you missed. I get it. Let's talk a little football. What do you say, gents?
Yeah, that was a hell of a game.
It was a hell of a game. Offensively, it was one hell of a game. We got huge names across the board, but I think some of the big ones I want to talk about today. First of all, Jake Jacobs Jr. Jacoby. We can't say enough about this guy. This guy is breaking hearts and breaking ankles. This guy is juking for his life. This guy is stealing turkeys, full turkey platters. This guy who actually didn't rush for as much as I thought he did. It just looked really goddamn good when he got the ball. Am I wrong here?
No, you're absolutely right. It was deceiving. You go and look at the stat sheet. This guy only he toted the rock 19 attempts for 43 yards and a TD. And you're like, oh man, is that it? And it's like, oh, that's right. In the receiving category, 4 catches, 74 yards. And one of those was like a 45-yard breaking ankles. Maybe my favorite play of the day, probably.
Oh.
Yeah, and what doesn't show up on the stat sheet with him are a couple other factors. One, he's wearing defenses out. He's hurting guys in the secondary. There were a couple plays where he pops up out of the huddle and they're like, oh, we got to take an injury timeout. Another dead dolphin on the field.
Just flipping.
Yeah, he's getting in their heads. These guys. It's what he's doing to him. And then the leadership factor as well. This whole making it rain thing definitely comes from him. He's giving this offense an identity. When they were searching for one under Love, he was like, I got an identity for us. Give me the ball. Let's play some hard ass football. And it's just, and so he's doing things so much for this team that don't show up on that stat sheet every Sunday.
You're so right, Ty. He's just like a guy that he just feels like he belongs from the get-go. I mean, to skip ahead a little bit here, like the game gets over and we're handing out turkey legs and, this he's just kind of going to town. Reporters trying to talk to him. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to grab the shit and head to the locker room. Just walked off. Like, God, I love this guy, man.
Did anybody else worry for a split second? Like, oh man, if he drops that turkey platter, but then you're like, wait, who are we talking about here?
Yeah, I had the same thing. I was like, now there's cameras and cords and stuff all over. Right. I'm like, oh, it takes one stumble, one collision with a camera photographer. But then I'm like, but then who are we talking about here?
Right.
There's nobody I trust more. If Elton Jenkins grabs that tray, I'm like, whoa, where are you going with that? You're liable to trip over your own foot. And get a flag in the process.
Yeah, and a turkey bone in the jugular.
Yeah,
out for the season, maybe even for life.
Can't trust just anybody with the turkey tray.
No, bro. Jacoby's hands are fucking like a dolphin's butt, fucking watertight. You know what I mean?
And Jazz, one other thing I liked about this game too was and I think this is from a coaching standpoint. They understand Jacobs is like the heart and soul of like this offense currently, but they don't want to run him into the ground, right? So they're spreading the ball around a little bit. Like Chris Brooks getting some action. Man, that motherfucker runs like his life depends on it. Huge fan. Manuel Wilson gets a couple of totes too. It's just, man, it's not all like Jacoby can take a couple plays off and we're going to be okay. And that's that gives you a little bit of relief, for like the long term.
As far as wide receivers, guys, who do we like?
This Reed Jacobs combo in the receiving thing, it is torturing the minds of defenders. It's the short pass to Reed, the short pass to Jacobs. Both of Reed's touchdowns involved in some way, whether it was the play action or Jacobs was also a receiver. But it's just like they just can't focus on everything at once. And Reed, oh my God, baby, those 2 touchdowns were just so beautiful because it's just his technique off the charts. It's the footwork, the hands, the head, it's all right. And he can do extremely technical things. And Love puts it in that tight little window just down the line.
I mean, look at this catch.
Probably and the best catch of the year.
Yeah, probably. This one-hander drops the head, takes the hit. Like, you know what I mean? Love is so in charge of the pocket. He knows what's coming, but that's some balls on a catcher right there. Sorry, catcher. On a receiver, my friend. Like, that is from a catcher.
One thing that's hard not to notice, and maybe this is scheme, I can't say for sure, but the amount of separation that this guy gets on a regular basis. Like when Jaden catches the ball, cornerback's like 3 to 5 yards behind him, like at all times. You know what I mean? He's a savvy route runner. And it's crazy. He'll just have these quiet games where it's like, hey, can we get him involved with the offense? Like, where did he go? Where did he go? And then he'll just explode on you, like all of a sudden. And it's like, maybe that's just part of our identity. It's like, you just don't know where it's going to come from.
And again, as far as his tree goes, Watson obviously has the speed on this team. Like we know he's there for the speed, but like as soon as you sit on guys like Dobbs and Reed, all of a sudden you're looking over on this, these out routes that they've got on their tree, and you're like, and there's nobody there. Like it is like, don't sleep on anybody receiver wise. I know we could talk about just receiving core, but it was super impressive to see.
Hey, and Watson's another one here, right? Where I've made a decision on this guy. Okay, this year in particular, his hands, like when covered tightly, have been some of the best I've ever seen. He's blocking better. Hear about how he's a great
blocker.
What we need to stop doing is letting him run down the field wide open for touchdowns, because that's just not his forte. This guy's going to drop those easy ones. It's like you got to throw into triple coverage, okay?
Right? Or
make a play.
3 feet in front of him, and you got to completely lay out. The turkey celly at the end, because for everybody that was watching, this was the Madden game where we've got the turducken legend, but this year we actually had an ex-player, Leroy Butler, who was actually cooking dishes, where you would see him just back there like cooking up mac and cheese, letting everybody know how it was going. So to have an ex-player who invented the Lambeau leap come out, Jordan Love finally gets his turkey celly. I was thankful for that, until randomly Stokes comes out of nowhere, grabs his turkey. I'm like, hey, get the fuck out of here. What did you do today? What have you done for me lately, sir? Get out of here.
Narvison just wanders up somehow. We're like, whoa.
How did you get in here?
Man, there was part of me too thinking of like Leroy, like, okay, it worked out in our favor. Packers won the game. Our boys get to eat that bird, but had the script getting flipped, like, what, you just accidentally knock it on the field? You're like, oh guys, shit.
It's just what you didn't see. What you didn't see is that for 14 and a half hours, he'd left a chicken in a different oven. And had the Lions won, it would have been the burntest, shrivelest little bird.
Look, it looks like a quail at that point. It's just this tiny little crispy,
basically cinders. It's
the size of a lump of coal.
Yeah, with some bones sticking out of it.
Instead of the brat lady at the end of the game, they're just like, here's one tiny quail for the team. Enjoy.
Maybe.
My God, just a lump of coal. We didn't also talk about D'Artagnan Wicks. For those of you who don't know, Dontavian Wicks has such a French name. I've just started calling him D'Artagnan, like from the 1993 film, The Three Musketeers, I believe it was. In honor of you, D'Artagnan, I have created a small video for you, and it goes like this. We'll get you, D'Artagnan! Because nobody could catch this guy. Nobody.
And again, he's doing the dirty work, fellas.
He
Loves
is.
to block. He had the quote like recently. He's like, blocking fuels my game as I go along throughout the day. I'll take that guy on the field anytime.
And it was a big part of the success of the run game was this wide receiver blocking, whether it was Jaden Reed on the end around that turned into what looked like a punt return, or I mean, it was just the outside screen pass to Jacobs when then he runs in for the touchdown. Like, yeah, just the wide receiver blocking is the best in the league right now on the Green Bay Packers.
There was two quick things I wanted to hit on with this offense, because there were two things that I've been wanting so badly all year long and kind of saw them for the first time. First one, okay, opening drive, great return, and just doesn't quite get home. Got a punt. I get it. They muff the punt. We are in the goddamn like red zone, and we don't come away with a field goal, boys. We get the goddamn 7. It's like,
Finally.
okay, let's go. But then my
Converting.
favorite was the end of the first half. Like, it was like a little over a minute, you know what I mean, to drive down and get into field goal range. Just surgically great passes, executing the offense, get into a spot for our field goal kicker. And when he comes out now, McManus, I feel pretty good about this guy. Bangs in 3 to end the first half. It's like, yes, momentum, just execution. First time I'd seen that all year from the offense, just like all throughout that first half.
Every time that guy comes out and kicks one for us and makes it, I just want to walk up to him on the side of the field with a tray of cookies, being like, would you like a cookie, son? They're little footballs.
Laces out. He's got a little bit of English on his kick too. You know what I mean?
It always scares me.
A little right, and then it kind of hooks back.
It comes back. Forgive me if I don't remember, boys. What's Meatball saying fuck it and running with the leftovers, by the way?
Look, this guy's got a lot of names now. Jacoby, Meatball.
Yes,
but I've been thinking about this one, and I'm sticking with it. I'm gonna start calling him Crazy 8, because he can't be mic'd up, because he's the dirtiest, foulest man in the world, and he's fucking nuts on that field. Crazy 8s.
Crazy 8s. We're gonna move on to some defense. We cool with that?
Tucker Kraft is amazing, but we beat that horse into the ground just the way he would like it. But shout out to him for always looking for the contact.
As long as we're on tight ends, I would say Luke Musgrave is the last guy I would want carrying that turkey plate.
He's still playing with us?
He's hurt, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well,
Hurtish.
Can't wait to talk about that once we start talking about cap shit and new contracts coming up later in the show. Defensive line, I know we want to talk about. Maybe you got some info.
Yeah, you hit on it earlier, Chaz, with the just 5 sacks, 4 of them coming out of the defensive line. This was the first game for me all year where it seemed like we woke up. I didn't do enough research on the Miami Dolphins offensive line. I think they're not like low tier by any means, but like Anagbare getting involved. Who else we got here? We got Van Ness getting one.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan Cox.
Gary.
But most importantly, Kenny Clark does still play for us. I wasn't sure like the past like 9-10 weeks, but he came out, it just felt like the quarterback was under duress the entire game. And maybe we're catching a little bit of fire here. You know what I'm saying? Ty, thoughts?
Yeah, the aggression was there. It also led to 3 consecutive neutral zone infractions.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which was extremely painful to watch because it's the most preventable penalty in all of football. You simply turn your head to see where you're at. And they want every inch. I get we're fighting over every inch, but
if I was a line coach and like they looked at me, I'd be like, I don't know. Maybe. Let's find out. Flags.
That's just it. That's why they check. Is because it's like it's such a preventable thing. Like it's so stupid to even have to take the flag out of your pocket for it.
Right. Well,
and the Packers have now mastered it.
Like, are they not also checking the guys next to them? Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Just looking at the ball? Yeah, I don't understand it either. I don't understand it either.
Maybe they're all, little giant stuff. They've just got the Alka-Seltzer and they're just pouring fake, drool down. It's all about intimidation, They're not looking at where their hands are. Because if you notice, Inigbari had one and Gary had one, and both of them had one on each other, which negated sacks that they would have had.
Yeah, I'd like the aggression though. I really do. The being in the neutral zone is a bummer, but man, we got production out of that defensive
Absolutely.
front.
Mm-hmm.
Had a little trouble with the run again this week. That Achane kind of went on a little bit of a heater there and made me nervous in the second or third quarter, where I was like,
starting in the third.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an Achilles heel for this defense. Is they do get run on from time to time, but yeah, Tua was under distress, throwing crazy throws, throwing the ball out of bounds like he does all the time. It was great to watch the pressure.
Yeah, I don't praise the other team too often, but I got to say, Raheem Mostert, I got respect for that guy. He's just like stiff arming, running. I mean, the guy only had, we're going to talk about what we gave up, only 19 yards to Mostert, 14 to Achane, and 6 to. So it was a quiet day. But yeah, dude, that team's got a ton of speed. You play them inside or in warm weather, it's a whole different scenario, I would imagine. But I like the way the defense played today.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to shout out 1-2 to dude, Isaiah McDuffie was another one where, look, in and out of the lineup, just based on circumstance and who's healthy, who's not. He played a hell of a game. He got a turkey leg at the end there. But what do we got here for that fella? He was doing a little bit of everything. 7 solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a pass defense, and a forced fumble, and just laying guys out and kind of making a statement in the middle of that field, So Isaiah, appreciate you.
If I'm not mistaken too, and I might be, and probably am, I can't remember if it was the end of the first or just the beginning of the second. I remember my buddy looked over to me and was like, wait a minute, are they negative rushing yards right now? And sure enough, the Dolphins were negative rushing yards. So like you said, Ty, it seems to be, especially in the second half of the last couple of games that we've had, where we kind of switch up, not rushing 5, maybe just rushing 4. We tend to give the team just a little bit more room to kind of play. But I at least thought that was some amazing defensive work for the first half. Not only that, things were getting really, really physical out on that field because I bet you can guess one guy. One guy was getting a little too handsy. Xavier McKinney, every goddamn time. Another guy you never want to mic up. There was a moment, and I tried finding it. Forgive me, I couldn't get it, guys. Where he literally he grabbed the side of a Dolphin's face mask, twisted it around so his nose was hanging out the ear hole, and just started walking him basically back to the line. And it shoots to LaFleur after the fact, and all the whistles and flags are going. And LaFleur literally just looks at him and just goes, knock that shit off.
It was, and that's McKinney, man. That's his game. He's in everybody's head. He's not taking anything off of anybody. It really is like the Jacobs of the defense, where he showed up and he was like, I'll give your defense an identity. It's me, and I'm badass. And he treated the Dolphins, who we never see, as our arch rivals. You know what I mean? Who's starting fist fights with this team we see once every 8 years? Yeah. Fucking Zay is. Fucking, I love this guy.
Fucking, you killed my father. Prepare to die.
It was fucking personal. I just love the way he plays football. And yeah, I know it's got to make LaFleur, who's so by the book, just nervous to have his best player out there teetering on the edge of ejection every single game. But damn it, it is worth it for the results.
It's worth watching.
Hell yeah, it is, because that
between him and
Juju
Williams
Smith, that number 9, for the Dolphins, dude was playing a little dirty. He was starting to kick and stuff, and he kind of needed to be put in his place. Yeah, he punched McKinney. That's where the whole grab your face mask thing came from. Was McKinney knew it was a free play. It was free violence. It's the defensive equivalent of a free play is when the guy punches you in the face. You're like, oh yeah, now I can do whatever I want. And it was just, And that's when he decided to just grab face mask and just see if he could rip his head 365. Like, it's beautiful.
You guys know,
The attitude of this defense.
do you know if it's like hockey where, like, in hockey, it's not the guy that does the push, it's the guy that responds to the push that gets the penalty box. In football, is it kind of the same? Like, you can
No,
trash
it's
talk
the
and push a bit, but if you engage back, that's the penalty.
no, in football it's almost the opposite. It's the reverse of that. They almost immediately flag the guy who started that shit. And then they'll figure out if the response was justified or not. And if the response was over the top too, like, but that's largely in football how it happens is, oh, we saw you, throw that punch, you get a flag. And then the guy who, punched you back in the dick, we'll talk about whether or not.
He'll get fined later.
Yeah, then we'll let the league sort that out.
Oh, Ty, it's so well said. And this defense has needed that identity for the longest time. Like, name the last, who was that rock that would fucking snap some necks and just get angry and like rile everybody up? I can't remember the last one.
That would be Gilbert Brown, the grave digger, and Reggie White, the Reverend himself, back in '96, baby.
Dude, I felt like Chuck Woodson. He was one who did it like through just like his play, and it was like a matter of like respect. But there was that guy. Like, once we lost that Clay Matthews, I appreciated him, but that wasn't like, he was not like the face of that defense necessarily, And now I think I think we kind of got it, whether it's dirty or ugly or just downright mean, It's a nice change of pace, is what I'm trying to say.
The aggression is there. And that's what's been lacking. We were complaining seasons past about passive this and trying to outsmart ourselves that. And all we wanted was just someone to pick up a 2x4 and walk over to the other team and crack them in the head with it. And that's all Hafley has done all season long. It's beautiful.
Nancy Kerrigan him as many times as you can, I'd say, at this point, just to get the energy going, because I think post D-Train, like Zadarius Smith was I was really sad when we lost him because he brought such a great energy just to the defense and the team. And that's a really hard personality to lose. But hey, man, if it means we got to get dirty and start putting brass knuckles under shit, and like, I'm all about sportsmanship, but man, I love watching fun football.
It's better to be the intimidator. It is definitely more fun when you're the one out there shoving the other guys around. And I just felt we did that with the 49ers, and we did that beautifully with the Dolphins here. And that not for a minute in that game did I feel like they were shoving us around. There were, they made some plays, most of which apparently got called back. But
Jesus, penalties! Oh my God!
It was just it was always 2nd and 20. That helps. That'll make your defense better when it's always 2nd and 20. But we were the aggressor the whole time. Not once was it, are you going to take that from them? It was just Thanksgiving night, and the Packers were dishing it out.
And we're hungry in more ways than one.
You're right, man. Started with San Fran, leaked over into Miami, and this is like a culture thing. And maybe it's changing kind of slowly right in front of our eyes. And that starts at the top with the coach. And like you said, Chaz, I appreciated that, where like X comes to the sideline, LaFleur is like, cut that shit out. And I felt like his it didn't always used to land. He looked like that little guy, kind of like looking up to like these 6-7 foot players, like demanding. They're like, yeah, man, okay, not anymore. This guy has complete control of this team, of this locker room. There's respect, and we need to put respect on this man's name. I'll tell you what, I got a stat right here. Through 6 seasons as a head coach in a winning record, he is number 2 all time, behind only George Seifert of San Fran, who like walked into like a really good situation following Bill Walsh. Now, I know what you're going to say out there. Oh, well, he walked in, he had Aaron Rodgers. Look, guys.
Yeah, well, he walked in, he had Aaron Rodgers.
That was not a well-rounded football team, Chaz, at all.
It was not.
And he kind of made do. And then he takes Jordan Love and rocks last year to winning record. And now it's only continuing to take momentum, where we can no longer say, he had this. He's making it happen. So, Matt, you got my respect, man.
I did want to say, random, as far because we were just talking coaching. Not that this has anything to do with Rich Bisaccia. I think I said his name right. I never know if I get it right. Dude, Boomtown's becoming one of my favorite players. I'm thinking about getting a Boomtown jersey, man. This punter, this young, like prepubescent punter that we have, this motherfucker's averaging like 60-yard punts. He's kicking from our own 10 and getting it to like their 30. What the hell is going on?
It's odd to get excited when the punting unit comes on, but I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of like, all right, we're gonna bury him, aren't we? All right, let's go, Danny boy. Hey, and as I said earlier too, McManus getting the job done on the field goal unit and Nixon getting a few opportunities to return. Can we talk just real quickly about the whole kickoff situation this year? You guys think it fucking sucks just like I do, right? I thought there's like no action. Like I know they want to make it safe, but like, can we find, I don't even either just like start at the 20-yard line and we can just like call this a day, or give me something where, you know, concussions are a normal situation. I just want to see somebody return a fucking touchdown at some point.
I just know Desmond Howard used to do it when they were running full hog at him, and he was averaging one, if not, you know, a game every other game. So I don't know what the hell this bullshit is. If anything, they might as well just like have a ref toss it to a guy while he's on the goal line, and then everybody has to wait till he gets to the 20-yard line before they can like 1 apple, 2 apple, 3 apple, 4 apple, 5 apple, and then they can rush him. I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
I like that.
Yeah, it's just it. Either kickoffs are a thing or they're not. And if they're not, that's fine. Put the ball in the 25. Let's go. I don't understand why they didn't back it up. I didn't, you know, or disincentivize the ball going into the end zone. You know, we're gonna put the ball on the 35-yard line if the ball goes into the end zone. Now it's squib kick city, baby. Like you could really do a lot of interesting things with this kickoff. What they did this season is just a dud in the experiment chain. I don't think we'll see this replicated next season.
Yeah, I would agree.
Worse?
Yeah, they'll make it worse. They'll give them flags to wear so that catch the puffy helmet guy.
Folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back with the second quarter in just a second with 2D and a C.
Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
Welcome back to 2D and a C. We're moving on to talking a little bit more wide receiver-based discussion. Ty, I'm going to pass this one over to you because I know we were talking about this.
Man, so we're talking about these wide receivers and how we got guys that do a little bit different things. And it's just what a great situation it is for right now. I guess my question to you guys is, if you could only keep a couple of these guys, or you had to part ways with one of these wide receivers, which one and why? Mayhew?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Such an interesting scenario because the wide receiver room all kind of got drafted in that same kind of area year-wise. So they're all kind of coming up. Like who are we keeping? Who are we cutting? Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, the easy one is Jaden Reed. Yeah, I'm going to give you some money. Like I need you on this team. I think the tough part for me is the Romeo Doubs versus the Watson scenario, right? Watson, he has that speed. He has elite, just physical attributes that can't be taught, you know? But man, there's something about Romeo when he is healthy and he's out there. He's such a savvy route runner. He seems to have the connection. The guy comes up with big plays too. I mean, are we talking between those three in your mind? Like you got to cut one?
I mean, I would include Wicks in on that.
Okay.
You know?
Because
I think you can put Wicks in. I think the Melton Heath, I think they're such role players at this point that while they're an essential part of what we got going on, I don't think they're the, main concern with, being able to keep everything. So between those four, I would say.
I like it.
Who's got contracts coming up?
I think everybody like Watson and Doubs were both drafted in the same year.
Okay.
I think Jaden was the year after.
I think you're right.
And then Wicks might have been in that Reed. He was like a 5th rounder. So it's kind of close, I guess. Okay, Ty, gun against my head. I signed Jaden. He gets like the most money. I offer Romeo like a decent contract to keep him in town, and then Dontavian too. And I just kind of bite the bullet on the Watson thing. Maybe even try to trade him just to get like a little bit back. Yeah. This isn't easy. You're shaking your head, Chaz. What do you got, Chaz?
I pay Watson. Unfortunately, I get rid of Dobbs. Keep Reed, but give Watson the money, because I think that as far as, like we were just saying, we don't need to give this guy the deep route because it's not hard enough for the guy. But the guy is going to kill himself for the triple coverage, diving for his life 5 feet in front of him. He's got the speed. As long as, one of his legs holds up, just on merit, and because I have to be an argumentative asshole, I got to say, no, we don't keep Dobbs.
Ooh,
Okay, Ty.
that's interesting.
I
We
know.
keep Reed, we keep Watson.
Me, I'm going. Man, this would have been a lot easier to answer at the beginning of this season because of my complicated fanship with Christian Watson and how, he took a while to develop into like a mature physical athlete. He did get hurt, tying his shoe there at the beginning. Yeah, it was hard for him to stay healthy, stay active. But he's made it a challenge by being a leader, by being that guy who's showing them all how to block. All that said, I still think he's probably the most vulnerable to injury. I think he has the biggest holes in his game. His blunders are bad blunders. So Dobbs will come and go, fade into productivity or not. I trust Dobbs to be clutch. When it's the playoffs and that ball is coming over the middle, I don't want anybody but Dobbs to be on the other end of that ball, because I know he's not even thinking. He's just catching that, focused on that ball. Watson's going through trophy celebrations in his head. I don't know what the hell. He's just not clutch. Yeah, and if we're going to be a Super Bowl team, which we are, like, we need a bunch of guys with ice water in their veins. And I just think he's got more ice packs than ice water. And so I love what he's done this year from a leadership standpoint. I love that he's doing the dirty work. I would trade his ass to the Bengals so fast.
Trust me, he's going to the Jets. Everything we give him is going to the Jets.
It's good. And it's all years, and it's money.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's tough. I wonder about that. Like Watson, I'm a 2nd round draft pick. I'm going to demand this. It's like, okay. We all agree that Jaden is getting paid, right? We're down.
Jaden's getting paid.
You got to bring him back. He's a franchise player.
And I hope it's not too much, but it's like, I think you could almost get Dontavian and Romeo for the same price as what Watson is probably going to try to demand.
And I don't think we might even get to that point, because Gutekunst has proven he's such a wizard.
Yeah.
He's also kind of brutal. And like, he will move on guys that are expensive and good. And I'm looking at the cap hit. Guys, I'm warning you. I know we're big Kenny Clark fans on this show, but I'm looking at this guy making $750,000 a year, or a game.
A game?
A game. He's 10%. He's 10% of the cap hit.
Is he 10% of the defense?
Is he 10% of the whole damn team is the question. He's making $26.4 million this year. I mean,
Jesus.
On a salary cap that's $251 million. Gutekunst, I mean, he's proven time with Bakhtiari. That became too much for him to stomach.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I like what Kenny's done for our team. And if you go look at his all-time thing, he's in the top 20 on a bunch of those categories. Man's a great Packer, but man, I am not falling in love with Kenny anymore, because he's next up to Jair on that chopping block just from the salary he's commanding.
Oh, don't say it. I want Jair to do so well. I wanted this to be his year.
We should take another break and get into the Jair thing.
All right, we'll be right back in just a second.
Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
Welcome back to Two Dads and a Chaz. For the halftime show today, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving movie favorites. Now, I have a couple of Thanksgiving favorites, which Thanksgiving specific movies are movies that take place around fall or Christmas, but aren't Christmas films. So, like, some of my favorites include things like Son-in-Law, for instance, or The Blind Side, or The Scent of a Woman, hoo-ah, or Four Brothers, for instance. But probably one of my all-time favorites is got to be the 1990, I believe it was 5, sequel to Grumpy Old Men, Grumpier Old Men. The feud between Max and John still going on. It doesn't matter. We get the hottest of hotties that's moving into town right next door to Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. That is Sophie Loren, as she moves in with a new Italian restaurant. Now, I could go into the plot of this film, boys, for you. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is show you only the behind-the-scenes outtakes. And this alone should prove my point. Folks, I hope you enjoy.
And I'll show you my spicy, peppy pepperoni.
Some of Burgess Meredith's
What do you say
best
we
work.
go back to my
Boys.
house and I'll
Perfect.
show you my man-sized
Manicotti.
manicotti. Beautiful. Name again?
Look at this all-star cast, gentlemen. Walter Matthau. I mean, Sophia Loren, Jack Lemmon, Anne Margaret, Kevin Pollak, Daryl Hannah.
Hey, dickhead. You know, I've been to Hawaii.
Which island?
I kinda like a poker. Like a licky dicky. I'm a kinda kinky. Wanna peek a pee-pee?
Some stranger could catch.
Why don't you come to my place?
Here's the best part.
I'll show you my beefy bologna.
This one's for you, Mayhew.
No? How would you like my bony macaroni? Or my fatty Alfredo? And my hard salami? I got them all.
I got them all.
Does the walk off?
Yes, he goes, I got them all. Folks, next Thanksgiving, please give Grumpier Old Men a try. If you got to sit around a bunch of drunk family members you don't want to be around, do it with these guys. They're grumpier than you, but they'll put a smile on your face. We'll be right back after this.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
Whether you're looking for a late night pick-me-up at a cocktail party or catching a 7 a.m. buzz, Energine never disappoints. Energine. Still not sure this is legal. Welcome back, everybody, to the third quarter here. We're going to take a deep dive into the cornerback room. A little bit of a focused conversation here. I'm going to kick things off with, we got to get down to it, Jair Alexander. Look, guy was a dog at one point. We all loved him. And he's been in and out all season long, right? Contract, this guy has taken a real heavy cap hit. Ty, take a little dive into that. Let me know in a few moments here what this guy is actually getting paid. And I'm wondering, I want to pose this to the group. Look, even when he is completely healthy and on the field, is he still that same dog that we thought he was? And long term, is he going to be on the field? Is this one of those points? Because look, this podcast is getting a little bit cold, and I think business-like, because we understand this is a business. You got to make cuts. You got to make financial decisions that are best for the team. You can't just fall in love with a player because you got his jersey. And for me, gentlemen, my take is I wouldn't hate the idea of trying to trade this guy in the offseason. And if no one's taking the bait based off of health, like maybe even cutting, taking a bit of a cap hit, and then just kind of taking a look at some other options. Am I way off base here?
I mean, see, we're going through all these changes with the scheme here. And while it's nice to have a guy like Jair who understands the craft, the production has not been there, especially when you're right. He's making $24 million. That's a cap hit of 9.4%. So he's right there between him and Kenny. That's 20% of our cap hit.
Yikes.
And we haven't even gotten into offensive players yet, guys. So what we're getting in return for what Jair is asking from the team, it's lopsided in Jair's favor so grossly at this point. He does have the Packers in kind of a bind, though. I mean, because there are other guys that clearly don't fit this new scheme, like Valentine, who was kind of a rising starter last year and has totally disappeared. It's thin. It's thin at cornerback. It's always hard to get one, so you want to keep the ones you got. But man, this guy's going to start costing us in other departments, and I don't see it. I've always been disappointed. It's tough. You know what I mean? I can't help but feel disappointed when it's, as hyped as he is and as much, respect as he gets. He's not intimidating guys the way Richard Sherman did, or he's not destroying quarterbacks the way Charles Woodson did. I just don't see his game being that much better than what we could possibly develop into that spot. So no, I need some major production, major changes out of Jair. Otherwise, I want to do something else with that money on that cap.
Chaz, where's your head at on this?
Well, he was my player of the year to watch. When we had our first episode this season, I really wanted to spend more time actually getting to know the defense a little better, which I've been trying to do. And number one, I love the guy's vibe. I love the cut of his jib. And I wanted this guy to be so fucking huge this year. But at the same time, I haven't seen him really pop off since that Jefferson game, Justin Jefferson. Like, that was the last time I saw him full hog, full bore, dick in the air, waving it out. I just wanted this guy to be the dog. I wanted him to be eating and eating hard. And the only thing he's done is get paid to sit on his ass. And I would hate to have another Bakhtiari on my hands for 3 years.
Hey, I'll throw this out there too, just to give you guys an example. So Marshawn Lattimore, he was top tier cornerback for the Saints for many, many years, kind of getting near the end. This year, traded to Washington Commanders. Anyway,
Careful.
they gave up him and a 5th round pick. And I know, right? And got a 3rd, a 4th, and a 6th in this next year's draft. And then the Commanders ate up his rather large contract. Since he's been traded, this guy has not even seen the fucking field. He was already kind of like injured, but the Commanders like, we're going to bite the bullet. And the Saints are like laughing all the way to the bank, despite the fact that they are in cap hell. But it's an example of sometimes you got to make those calls and you got to make them early rather than late. We'll kind of see how that one plays out. But it doesn't just stop there. I think at the end of last year, we talked about what were the soft spots of the team that we wanted to kind of work on. And cornerback room was kind of a clear one. We all sort of felt that way. Didn't know what Stokes was going to be. Jair is hurt. Had a couple like rookies. Okay. They basically let it ride. And man, Goody, I want to trust. Jeff Hafley comes in. I'm sure he had insight too. We kept Jair. We kept Stokes. We signed Keyshawn Nixon to like $6 million a year for a couple of years. And it's like, okay, so you're going to roll with that. You got Carrington Valentine, some of these other guys like, all right. And those up and comers from last year, like the Carrington Valentines haven't seen the field. Corey Ballantyne is on the field more than him, who I am just not a huge fan of. Stokes is on the field more and more. And this guy's like one of the worst rated cornerbacks in the league. But if Hafley feels that he is in front of these other guys, then man, this room is in way more trouble than I thought. I'm personally at a point where, unfortunately, and you can't fix every problem in the offseason and with the draft, but this cornerback room needs to be shaken up the same way that the safety room did this offseason. Just my take.
Yeah. And you definitely see him kind of even just within this season moving in that direction by bringing in Williams, this Javon Bullard. They've really shown that they have like a willingness to try out some new guys. And if it gets to be like a linebacker situation where you're like, I don't know how to get this Mosby and Cox and Enigbar and all these guys on the field. Sorry, Preston, bye. I almost feel like it's kind of turning into the same. They're kind of searching to do the same thing with the secondary. Because they have brought in guys that are new and they're exploring different options. And I definitely think that this cornerbacks room is in definite need and due for a major overhaul. You could redo this cornerbacks room. I mean, with the exception of Xavier McKinney, you just give McKinney, and I guess we'll keep Nixon too, because he does a lot of different things. And he's cleaned it up. He really has. Nixon has he doesn't get near as many flags as he did last year.
Okay, I'll give you that.
You know, he's still out there starting fights. He's still out there body slamming guys.
Yeah.
But he's just not drawing the laundry like he used to.
He's like a number 3 tie for me.
Yeah,
You know, if
totally.
he's like the third, cool. But like he's like our number 2 right now, and even number 1 at this scenario, and that's not a good spot to be in. You know,
Right. Yeah, you definitely have to bring somebody in to replace the kind of the number 1 role that Jair maintains. But
I would even
do
take
kind
an
of
Evan
think
Williams.
Jair's sitting on it. And it's kind of a shit or get off the pot kind of situation with Jair here, where it's like, are you our number 1 corner, or are you just a future high school football coach? Like,
those are the only options.
Right.
that's your life path, Jair. You can either be a Super Bowl winning champion and turn it around in the next 5 games and make us all forget that we kind of were disappointed in you, or you can fucking go coach fucking the team at Freedom.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
Y'all, we're back with the fourth quarter of the podcast, which is our next opponent, which are the Detroit Lions, currently sitting at 10-1. Crickets. Let that sink in. 10-1. So as long as we make no mistakes for the rest of the year, we might have a shot at this. I think we do. But I want to talk a little bit about their last game against the Bears. I'm only going to talk about the last 30 seconds, which were probably the most ridiculous I've seen in probably the entire weekend of football for Thanksgiving, which was like, it felt like 3 or 4 or 5 days of football. Seconds.
It was
The Bears
awesome.
still have 1 timeout. The Bears, I believe, were only down by 2 points, 3 points? It gets down to
3.
30 seconds. Eberflus has an opportunity to take a timeout as the clock is literally running. Why the literal fuck doesn't this guy take the timeout? They let the clock roll all the way down to 6 seconds and decide to go for what looks like the most un-Hail Mary-est Hail Mary play I have ever seen outside of the guy's hands to lose the game. Now, Bears fans, I'm not saying I feel for you. I'm not saying I cry with you. I think, you know what you did. You chose the team. Look at the color scheme. But in the last couple of games, the Bears even themselves have lost either in the last 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds at the very end of the game. The inverse of that is if you also look at the last 3 games that the Lions have had, it is last minute, fourth quarter wins. And I know I've said the last couple of weeks, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile from the Fast and the Furious, but it's true because at the end of the day, winning is winning. And these motherfuckers are winning. It doesn't matter how they're doing it. And don't get me wrong, they're doing a lot right. But if we do not show up to this game prepared, we will really be in trouble. What
I'm seeing here is there's cracks in the foundation of this team that thinks they're just going to roll all the way to the NFC Championship and kind of, hey, this is the year of the Lions. Look, it's been going swimmingly for you. They've also had the ability to absorb some pretty significant injuries and recoup. Hey, my hat's off. I think they're well coached. I said in a previous episode, I do think all 3 phases of the game, they're one of the most balanced team in the leagues. But what you just said, I think is pretty important here as far as a breakdown. I'm looking at their schedule all season long. They beat up on bad teams, and their one loss was to Tampa, which was a difficult, week 2. Arizona Cardinals beat them 20-13. They're smoking the rest of these teams. And when it comes to like the close ones against Minnesota, 31-29, a squeaker. Green Bay Packers, we've clearly broken that one down. That was not our best game, and we were still relevant. And then you're beating Jacksonville and the Colts. You're slamming these people.
Right.
But then on Thanksgiving, you're playing the Bears. And as you said, you are now up 23-7 in the third quarter. And you allow them to come screaming back. And had they not had one of the worst coaches of all time who quickly got fired a few days later, could have lost that game easily. I don't think they're as invincible as they appear to be. And come Thursday, I think we're going to show the entire world exactly who's who. And this is the game where we completely turn these things around. Who owns this division, boys? Who's taking back the North?
Minnesota. Wait, what? What'd you say?
Yeah, I got ahead of myself. Got ahead of myself. Anyway, I just think the dream's over. That's all I'm saying in Detroit Rock City. Hi. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Detroit. It's tough to say because normally they've peaked by now in the season, but I think that their peak is right here. I mean, I think that it's past them. It's been a
What do you mean?
different. I think. Well, here's the thing with the Lions. I've gone over this a ton of times, but it holds. The Lions every year go 8-0, and we all panic. We go, "Oh my God, they're the new front runners, world beaters," and then they lose 9 in a row. They haven't had that like unraveling, and I think largely, I mean, as Mayhew pointed out, they've played a bunch of soft teams, and they have not fared all that well. They've won in the division, but every one of those games against the Vikings game was close. The Bears too close for comfort. I think that they haven't really been challenged, and so we haven't seen the classic Lions implosion that we're used to seeing. But it's coming. I still think that this is not like. I think they've played their best football, and they struggle against tough teams. The way we're on an upward trajectory, if we win this is just a momentum changer. We can take the whole. I know they have the better record. I know they've been, the darling this year in the tough team in a tough division, or toughest division. But I'm still not sold on these Lions. I'm looking at the same thing Mayhew is. They're close wins against good teams. They blow out bad teams. They're still going full Lions. And the Bears did. The Bears gave them a gift. Like, handed it to them. I'm not saying the Bears would have won that thing.
Eberflus gave him a gift.
Yeah. Well, the Bears have now fired their way all the way to like the fifth offensive line coach.
Yeah, who is their coach?
This guy, the interim coach, 4 weeks ago was like an offensive line coach. I think he's the.
Do they actually have?
They fired the offensive coordinator like a week or two before they fired Eberflus.
Right.
And so it's like by default, like this random guy that's just like some member of the coaching staff is now like the interim head coach. The only photo they have of him, he's holding a cup of coffee because it's like that's how serious his job was. Like,
so he's some like grip and or towel boy that's just like if the president gets killed and the cabinet gets killed and the Congress gets killed, they give it to like I don't know, some Zamboni driver in Managua. Like what?
Yes. Previously, he was loading helmets and pads onto the bus. Now he is coaching the Chicago Bears because they fired everybody above him. They don't have that problem in Detroit. This coach is going to be their coach for a long time. Because I hate to say good things about division opponents, but man, Dan Campbell has those guys jacked up on whatever free methamphetamines he's fucking letting them have at it in the locker room.
Oh yeah, and hey, I'm not trying to say it's going to be like a cakewalk on Thursday. We need to earn it. I think like you're saying, Ty, like we're kind of coming up and I'm ready for them to just basically start snowballing downhill like Detroit does, come on.
If we don't do complimentary football, then it's going to be really tough for us, man. I would love to go into the half ahead, even if it's only by one score. I don't care if that's a field goal or a touchdown, but if we go into the half down, I am going to shake in my boots a little bit. Not to mention Tyson's actually going to be there with Angelo. So who knows if they're getting in? Who knows if they're getting into this game? They got one hell of an Airbnb, they say, but I got to. I wish them the best of luck trying to get tickets. It'd probably be one of those like they'll have to scalp tickets and they only get in for like the second half or just the fourth quarter at like $200 a ticket, and they get in with like the shittiest of seats.
Wait, they don't have tickets?
They do not have tickets. They have an Airbnb that's literally like half a mile from the stadium, so they're going to walk it, but they do not have tickets, and they have no friends that are going to be there tailgating. So it's just going to be, don't get me wrong, Tyson and Angelo Catania. If there are two guys that could get into a party or a stadium or meet some really cool people to like work themselves into a situation, it's those two.
Oh, I have full faith in them. I definitely think they're going to make that happen. They're going to find some Packer friends. and the Packer friends are gonna be like, "Hey, you guys seem like some cool guys, and we had these tickets." Yep.
Yeah.
I hope either that or I don't know.
They're
Just-
both going
I
to
don't-
get mugged.
Yeah, I don't know how Detroit works.
I was gonna say
I'm so
tasered for
fearful.
sure.
Coming home with souvenir bullet wounds. I don't know.
If it gets the W, I mean,
Oh, I know one way we're gonna beat these Lions. With the special thanks to Jahmyr Gibbs showing us their entire play sheet. Did you guys see
Oh
this?
my God.
Taking
Yes,
an
I
Insta
got- yeah, I
photo
got it.
and the whiteboard behind them is their entire like offensive call sheet. Appreciate it, Knuckles.
So, for those
Yeah.
of you who don't know, a player for Detroit somehow had a social media picture taken with the entire play sheet, their calls and what they mean for, I mean, this literally says drop back protections. And if you zoom in, like that is their play calling. Their head coach was literally being interviewed like an hour or two after this, who had no idea this had happened.
am I the only guy wondering why they wrote it up on a white? Like, where are we supposed to go with this? As a player, are you going to memorize this just off this visual aid? Like, is there not like a handout? Maybe it's on a tablet of some sort. I mean, I don't know. Am I crazy here?
All along the way, all they've ever been told is like, I'm going to give you this playbook, but this thing is like sacred. It's secret.
Yeah.
Like you show this to no one, not even your brother gets to look at this. Like, I mean, this is like a heavily guarded thing. This isn't just like, oh, well, all teams know this. Like, this is like something that Dan Campbell was hoping to like, I don't know, protect with the sanctity of putting it up in the goddamn locker room. Like, I don't know. It's amazing the bonehead. And this is so classic Lions. And this is why I think they're on the way to being the same old Lions, because now they're running either different play calls, which they haven't been running all season and are now unfamiliar with, or they're running play calls that Rashawn Gary knows what they mean.
I mean, Mark Snowden leaked, CIA documents, and that motherfucker had to move to Russia. This motherfucker's gonna die who posted this.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Wait,
We have a-
everybody, somebody just broke into our room somehow. I didn't even know this. Did you guys know this was happening?
I
I
know.
had
know.
no idea.
I had no idea this was happening. Shane from Shawno, is that you, Bubba?
Everyone's favorite uninvited guest, Shane from Shawno. How are
Hey.
you?
Chaz, play that Shane from Shawno music.
Oh, what's that? Coming around the corner, it looks like the one, the only
Well,
Shane
how's
from
it
Toronto,
going, you
everybody.
stupid fuckers?
Everybody keep it down. He's up. He's got to be up at his deer lodge. Everybody keep it down.
No, I ain't up in my deer lodge, Chaz. If Lana finds out I'm on the pod, she's gonna skin my worm.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. For those of you that saw, I got a really nasty video, which, by the way, I've been meaning to talk to you about, sir. Uncalled for.
This message is for Chaz. Shane is getting ready for deer camp, so I thought I'd log in and say this: stay away from my man. The podcast is taking lots of time away from our relationship. Shane is my man, and I'm his little mama. Don't plan on sharing, Shane, so you and the podcast have to go. And quit flaunting your body all over the internet. I caught Shane under the covers looking at his phone the other night. Stay away from my man.
She sent me a real nasty vid, bud. I thought you guys weren't even together anymore.
Oh, fuck it, Chaz. I'm just gonna talk with my regular voice, and
Get
if
it.
she finds out, so be it. I can't quit you, bud.
I can't
And
quit you,
that's
bub.
that's just a matter of fact.
Mm.
But I'll say this: Lana is something else, ain't she?
Ah,
That's my
yeah.
gal.
She's a real looker, if you know what I mean.
Hey, bud.
Yeah.
I love you and everything, but the line gets crossed real quick when we start getting into my territory like that, okay?
All right.
My
bad, bud.
scent is all over that, bud, and that ain't
I
gonna
believe
be
it. And
changing.
trust me, I'm not putting a salt lick out for her or you.
You know, if you really wanted to lure her in, you just go down to Pizza Ranch, get her, 24-inch meat lovers, or we shut her down. We got kicked out of Pizza Ranch one time in Baraboo. We were down that way.
Y'all stop at Sky High, get yourself a little bit of apple brandy too.
Well,
Nice little
you
date
know,
night out there.
you already know, Chaz. You know, the real time when things got serious and I knew that I was in love is when we went down to Golden Corral in De Pere, and we was getting in the parking lot, and I was like, let's go in, you know? And she's like, just wait, I got to get in the zone. And I'm like, what do you mean the zone? And she's like, Alexa, play Appetite for Destruction. And next thing you know, we're in the parking lot listening to Welcome to the Jungle. And we went in there and absolutely cleaned house. And by we, I mean her. The white coats came out to make sure that we were escorted out of the premises because every tray was completely empty.
Impressive. Friend to friend, Shane. Friend to friend.
Yes, sir.
You're entitled to make any decision you want, and we're always happy to have you here. We only want what's best for everybody on this podcast and to all those that listen. But my friend, I don't know if she's right for you. That's all I'm going to say.
Chaz, this is a conversation for off air, bud. I ain't trying to put that out here.
Just saying, I think you can do
You
better.
are going to, bud.
Just say.
Can I pretty much have the dog kennel you've been sleeping in because I'm going to need it if she catches wind of what you just said, bud.
I think somebody's just jealous because Lana might be getting in the way of something.
Hey, who's jealous?
I'll be honest, bud. You were up at the 49ers game, weren't you?
Oh, I wish.
You weren't there?
No, I was out with the boys doing the guys' weekend thing.
Oh, okay, because I was confused. I know Lana has a little thing for you. Of all the dads, she seems to like Ty. Ty.
Really?
All the fucking time. It's like, what's he got that I don't got? You know?
Well, I mean, he is BD Ty.
Judging by the size of your hands there.
It's just big gloves and big socks, bud. That's all that means. I got linked back up with Lana.
I see that.
When I drove home, when I ended up driving home from Brazil, I went to the Brazil game, and
oh God,
I ended up making a mishap when I purchased the plane tickets, and I flew down to Brazil, Indiana, which is really close. It's really close to Bloomingdale. And when I was on the flight, there was a lot of red flags checking out in Green Bay at the airport. I was like, do you want to see my passport? You know? And he's like, no, you don't need that. It's domestic flight. Don't need. I was like, what do you mean domestic flight? You know, and people are wearing Indiana sweatshirts and stuff. I just was looking around. I was thinking, well, you know, we got a diverse crowd in the pack.
You didn't notice you were flying Spirit that day, bud?
You know, there was a raccoon on the wing named Winky that day, and I was pretty happy to just be going down Brazil and getting some culture. Next thing you know, we land in Indiana, and I'm looking around going, what the fuck? So I just decided to suck it up and watch the game at Chili's too, and just go get a rental car, and I ended up just driving her back to Appleton, and that's where I needed a ride, and Lana was the only person that would answer, and the rest is history.
That's way better than meeting her in a Chili's in Brazil, Indiana, being like, of all the bars and all the Midwestern towns, she had to walk into mine, you fuckers.
She more like thundersteps into my life, usually. And I'd imagine someday we are going to be getting into some sort of mobilized cart.
Well, is this going to be an issue, Shane? Because, I mean, I'm more than happy to keep having you on the podcast, especially when I don't even know you're coming. But, you know, as of late, our restraining order has been lifted because things have changed. Our relationship has changed. But there's a boundary that I've got to place if I've got to deal with Crazy Eye that's going to be reaching out to me. You know what I mean? We're going to have to deal with this.
Guys, I'm just going to plead the fifth, and let's just talk about the pack. I can't. There's only one thing that's going to happen from all of this. So let's just move on. I shouldn't have never even. I'm
STD's
so sorry.
Got it. what are your thoughts about this upcoming Lions game, pal?
Well, first of all, where's fucking T-Bone?
He's on his
I
way to
kept-
Detroit as we speak.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh.
if he's going the long way or what, but yeah, no, he's trucking up that way.
And that's a place you do not want to be. Anywhere named Detroit. I wouldn't even need a pizza to call it Detroit, but they put the sauce on top. It's fucking weird. You know? I don't know what you're laughing about, Hudovich. You've been awfully quiet this season, bud. You don't got T-Bone's skirt to hide behind tonight, and you're going to have to actually talk to Shane, bud. I reach out to you, and it's just nothing.
No, Shane, I apologize.
No, you should apologize. I need a little bit more respect around here, bud. I'm a dad too, technically, and we all know Ty's got a couple running around somewhere, so he's a dad.
Wait, Shane, you have kids?
No, bud, it's just the pale guy.
It's
The
just
pale guy.
assumed.
Of course, I have kids. The pale guy don't respect my knowledge for the pack, and that's what it's all about. And I might not be the X's and O's and carrying the one, nerd boy, but I'll tell you what. When I send you fucking gifts and you don't send shit back after a while, let's just be honest. It upsets me. It ticks me off, bud. Come on up here. Come
Reg.
on up here, bud.
You don't want to catch Mayhew. You don't want to catch those little hands, bro.
Oh, I apologize. He's right. It's been a one-way street as far as a friendship. But I mean,
And you know where to find me. Come on up to the job site. Come on up to the job site, bud. I got a steel toe for you, bud. You come on up to the job site. Because that's where PFF stands for punch your fucking face. Okay?
Round of applause.
that one landed. Sir. Shane, can we
I was
get
Golden Gloves in Menominee Falls. You don't want none of that.
Shane? Let's talk some pack here, man. How do you feel about this team's chances come Thursday? Shoot us straight.
I don't feel good. No, bad. That's bad omens. You know? Maybe if they put Sean Clifford in, we'd win, but if I don't know, bud, we're riding the love train. So let's see what we get. Couple picks. Throw it across the shoulder, across the body, bad bonehead decisions. Jacobs is probably gonna have to save us, bail us out like usual. That's my guy.
So trap game.
Well, I think Scary Gary's going to come out and get activated and end up just putting that quarterback right into that hard Detroit turf.
I'm sorry, I misheard you. Did you say Gary was going to come out and get a bunch of penalties? What was that for neutral zone infraction? What did you say?
Yeah, similar to Lana, Gary is a place we don't want to go.
Fine. You spent enough time in Indiana, I see.
Shane, what about a score prediction? Join us here in the final closing moments.
Oh, now we're talking. Me and you are talking again.
It's hard.
I don't know how you guys deal with this fucking guy. Seriously. You need to put some sort of a shade over that light, buddy. You're glowing white. You look like a fucking case of deli meat, man. I'm telling you. You look like something I could just pull out the rotisserie, put some mayo on, and just...
You have a way with words, Shane. You truly do. So anyway.
I'm trying not to go hard on you, but I'm just kind of upset. You cold shouldered me last show, and I just made a note. I said, if I get a chance, I'm going to talk to Hudovich tonight and get him out of his shell a little bit this season, Lord knows I don't need to talk too much to Ty. I might turn Lana on, and then I have bigger problems than I need, Score's going to be, and you can write this down.
I'll do it right now.
It's going to be 25-21 pack. Shocking the world.
21. Interesting score.
Vegas likes 4 points a lot all the time.
Okay.
It's just enough to screw you.
That's a good take.
If you look at my
It's
bank
pretty good.
account, you'll know how many times I've been screwed over the last year.
Yet somehow you still managed to send me birthday presents, Christmas presents, Valentine's, and New Year's gifts.
Well, it's because you're important, Chaz. You're the most important guy on the show.
I'm just
You
saying, I appreciate
radiate
it.
sunlight. The way that you just get them pit vipers going with the backwards hat, that's just cool, man. You know, you're like Fred Durst, bud. You're like Fred Durst, but you don't smell like hot dog water, okay?
I appreciate that.
So anyway, hey guys, I just want to do something because this segment just is near and dear to my heart and it's gone away. I'm trying to bring it back. It's called a Packer memory. If I may, I would love to share a Packer memory, bud.
Oh,
Hit it.
please do.
Please.
I want to hear it. I'll put some. Hang on,
All right.
Chaz. Cue the music. There it is.
Ooh, that is nice. Chaz, you guys should be more like Chaz. You see how in control he is all the time? He's just cool, calm, and collected. I'd like to set the stage for this Packer memory. Let me set the stage.
Said it.
It was the summer of 2024. And I got my 98 Durango out of storage and decided to fill her up. So I went down to Cenex and I seen Jeff Halfley at the gas station.
Ooh. No kidding.
E Hefe
I know. And I says, hey, coach. Hey, coach. How's it going, coach? You know, just kind of awkward. I made sure to go get something out of the window washer thing, you know, real close to me. Hey, coach. Oh, no, straight. Whoa, you fill up your car with gas too? You know? Just making conversation. And then I proceeded to go to most every tavern in Shawano that afternoon and evening and proclaim that I know the coach. You know? I know the coach. I know the coach. Me and coach are tight, you know? I pumped his gas. He pumped mine. Asked him, you know, what kind of plays. I said, activate Scary Gary, and then the rest is history, bud. So you can thank me later.
You really turned this defense around, Shane. You really gave Halfley the insight that he needed. And
You
the
know, Ty,
motivation.
that means a lot coming from you, and, you know,
Real
your
quick, hang on.
expertise with D.
Chaz, cut the music. Thank you.
Chaz, you are a wizard of sorts, bud. I am serious. You are actually looking exceptional in that fleece. I know how cold it is outside, and it's clear that you, you know, are some sort of like a meteorologist, basically, and you like predict the weather and know how to stay warm. You can come up and hang out with me anytime, bud.
Well, you've always understood something that I appreciate, which is you lose a lot of heat in the neck, man. You lose a lot of heat in the neck.
That's right. And that's why I just snuggle into Lana's neck pocket whenever I get cold.
God.
There's always a little bit of sweaty lint in there for everyone, you know, especially me.
Mm-hmm.
Takes after her ma. You know, they say, look at the ma, and then you know kind of what you're about to get, you know. And I eyed her up. I said, oh, that's good enough for me, you know.
Wanna
What you
say-
looking at, pale guy? Seriously, I'm serious. What you looking at, bud? What you on the job site?
Careful, Mayhew. He bites.
Didn't
You know
I'm
what,
about
this
to
guy-
send you a new wardrobe again. This is
guy-
the last time.
Yeah.
on your porch. I'm telling
So
you.
expect creepy things showing up in your mailbox again.
Right.
I'll send it to your work, bud. I did a little research and I figured some stuff out. So I talked to your boss the other day. You might want to talk to, just ask him what old Shane said, you know, it's like a reference.
That's not disturbing at all. Shane, I look forward to this package.
Gear skull is on the way.
Guy,
you
I
know
would
what?
never give away a good deer skull, bud. It's hard work to get one of them.
Shane, would you do me the honor since Tyson is gone this week? Would you actually mind closing the show for us this week?
Okay, thank you very much. This is Two Dads and a Chaz, and I am your temporary host, Shane. And I'd like to close the show out with a hashtag. It is hashtag Reclaim the North. Right?
Yeah.
Hashtag 3, 2, 1.
Reclaim North.
The North.
Right.
Thanks to special guest Shane from Shawano.
Tonight, besides some rings and
I love you, Chaz, so much.
Party trophies, y'all. Two dads and a chance is talking Green Bay Packers football. Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.